2 hours west of Melbourne lies Ballarat Sovereign Hill, a landscape shaped by one of the most dramatic chapters in Australian history. In the 1850s, the discovery of gold transformed quiet countryside into a chaotic frontier. Men arrived from across the world chasing fortunes. Families followed, hoping to build new lives. Some succeeded, many endured, some disappeared. My great-great-great-grandfather, Benjamin, was one of those men. My challenge was to capture Benjamin's unique slice of that history. Like most writers, I began with historical research. That can take you so far, but good writers do more. They allow the place itself to reveal the story. Today, let me show you what I mean by that. At Sovereign Hill, the lesson began from a distance. From a prominent but windy view, the diggings almost looked picturesque. White tents scattered along creeks, timber buildings rising behind them, the whole scene carrying the rough romance of a recreated goldfields village. For a moment, it looked almost like a fairy tale. But the illusion didn't last long. The moment I stepped into the creek and lowered a pan into the water, the cold hit me. The icy flow carried a sharp sting that quickly dampened my early enthusiasm. What had looked quaint from above suddenly felt hostile. Any thought I had of writing the goldfields as simple scenery changed. The land itself became an antagonist in my story. A local miner reinforced the lesson when he called out, "You there, mate, want to see how to properly pan for gold?" What began as a friendly banter quickly shifted as he explained the harsh realities of mining in the 1850s. Most miners found no gold. For them, it was a life of enduring the hardships of grinding poverty. Having failed at panning, many miners turned to the mine shafts underground. This offered a better chance of discovering gold, but at far greater personal risk. Collapsing tunnels, foul air, and digging by candlelight with no safety equipment meant death was always close by. Fortunes might appear overnight, but the ground could take everything just as quickly. Even simple pleasures we take for granted, like breakfast at a cafe, were enjoyed by only a fortunate few in Sovereign Hill. My waitress reminded me who typically dined in cafes during the 1850s. "Only for the wealthy," she said. "Most miners lived on mutton, damper and billy tea cooked over a campfire." I was beginning to understand that Benjamin could only survive in this world through the support of communities formed through hardship. Families, shopkeepers, workers, and women who carried enormous responsibilities while the miners chased uncertain fortunes above and below the ground. Later, I spoke with Dorothy, who ran the old printing press at the Ballarat Times office. Newspapers were vital during the gold rush. In a town changing almost daily, they recorded discoveries, disasters, and the shifting fortunes of thousands of hopeful migrants. When I mentioned Benjamin's disappearance, Dorothy spoke about the many men who vanished from the goldfields, some lost in accidents, others leaving quietly in the night to follow the next rush. She showed me something important. History is not an exact science. There are rarely simple explanations. History continues to unfold through places, through voices, and through fragments of human experience that gradually build a larger picture. Only after walking the creeks, descending into the mines, and listening to these voices could I begin to understand the world Benjamin lived in, and perhaps the deeper truth of the goldfields. For most migrants, the gold rush experience was not about striking it rich. It was about endurance, about families trying to build lives in a harsh and unpredictable world. Benjamin's life began to reveal itself to me when I allowed landscapes and voices to speak slowly. By doing that, his story feels less like distant history and more like lived experience. In a way, I stepped away from my research and walked beside Benjamin in his world, allowing his personal truth to emerge.